This week has been a wild one for sure. If you guys didn't know, I am from California, which is where I'm building the Bigfoot right now. And this past week, we were hit with a storm of massive proportions. Most of the state, especially northern and central California, experienced massive flooding. There's tons of destruction just 20 miles down the way for me. But I just wanted to acknowledge that before we jump into it. If you guys are from Northern California, know someone who's from there, give them a call, give them a hug. I hope that everyone else made it out okay, or the best that they could, and that the next week that we're supposed to get even more rain doesn't devastate us as much as this past week has. That said, I couldn't have my camera filming a lot of what I was doing this week because the camper was either under wraps or it was raining so hard that I was worried I could damage my camera. I captured everything the best that I could in those dry times, and so I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I got a lot of major projects done, like installing my Max fan, putting new solar on the roof, and adding some of these extra new black compartments on the exterior of the rig. Yesterday, my dad and I also added an awning to the other side of the camper, which I'm so excited to use when I finally hit the road. But all of this was done, all of this outside stuff that looks like I'm really not making any progress on the inside. So that way this coming week, when it's pouring rain again, I can be working on the inside because everything that is going to get mounted to this camper is on. Because I had to film a little bit differently this week, this video is going to look a little bit different, and so I hope that you enjoyed this montage of us getting stuff done, and then we'll get into today, Friday, when I'm trying to finish up the outside before covering it up again tonight for the rain to come this weekend. Let's get into it.
Got nothing to lose. Oh my, gonna shake it off. It ain't no thing, it ain't no thing. Oh my, doing what I want. Gonna do my thing, do my thing. Way up high and take it low. I'm feeling right from head to toe. Light it up and let it roll. Here I go. Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, you ready? Ready or not, we going, and I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Oh my, gonna hit it big. I got my eyes on the prize. Oh my, gonna spin the wheel, cash it in and roll the dice. Oh my, it's a thing of gold. All I do is win, all I do is win. Oh my, no one ever fold. Start it up, let the game begin. Way up high and take it low. I'm feeling right from head to toe. Light it up and let it roll. Here I go. Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, you ready? Ready or not, we going, and I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, oh my. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready for me? Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready for me? Are you ready?
My main goal early on in the week was to get the solar and Max fan installed so that I could start working on the interior once the rain came. Now, gratefully, we were able to get that done much faster than I ever could have imagined, which allowed me to keep working on the outside in preparation for walls that are going to be put in later this week. With the solar and fan installed, I was able to move on to the exterior components, which put me further ahead than I thought I was going to get this week. I ordered all of these off of Amazon, unfortunately, but I will say they are fairly good quality, and I'm really happy with the black accents and how they stand out on the kind of old white camper. I was worried at first that getting black would be too stark, but after originally ordering white components, I realized that it looked worse, not better. Having stark white components only made the camper look yellow, and so going with black allowed me to keep things uniform instead of getting 4 different colors of white. And I think it's also going to hold up better in the sun over time because these white plastic components do tend to yellow pretty quickly. I used butyl tape on the back of all of these exterior components, but that's really a last line of defense after the silicone that was placed on top. Obviously, this will have to be replaced over time, which is not something that happened, I don't think, when the Bigfoot was with previous owners, but it will be something that I'm going to do probably every 9 to 12 months just to make sure that the camper is as watertight as possible. Once I finished adding in these components, though, it was time for something really exciting: my new awning. Now that all the big stuff's done, I have a few remaining tasks that I want to get done today that include the propane box back here, as well as the fridge vent on the other side. Originally, I was thinking that I was going to remove that fridge vent, but after careful consideration and realizing that the fridge, being a really heavy object, should go as low to the ground as possible, I decided I will be keeping the fridge on the passenger side of the camper. So instead of replacing those vents entirely, I'm going to pull them off and clean up all of the old silicone that's around them, make sure that they can have a proper seal, and I'm also going to add a fresh coat of paint so that way they match all of these new black fixtures on the outside. But if I keep talking, we're never going to get stuff done, so let's get into it.
If it's for real, you gon' feel it in your soul. If it's for real, you
Alright, let's talk about this handle. It has been a major pain point for me during this build and something that I've waited until what feels like the last minute to replace, because originally I thought that I had to buy an entirely new handle. If you have a camper like this, I am happy to let you know that they do fully come apart, so you can clean them up and make them look like new without having to spend, I believe it was $160 on eBay to ship something from the UK or Australia. I ended up removing the entire housing from mine because I will be rewiring it on the inside. I gave it a fresh coat of primer and paint. I bought a new light bulb, and I also bought a new screen that's going to go over where the light bulb sits, since mine was completely cracked and busted. This project is still far from done, but with a couple new wires and that new housing, I think we're going to be looking good as new pretty soon. Well, that wraps up this week for the build. I feel like for the first time on this camper, we actually got a lot done. And that really is mostly thanks to my parents pitching in during the dry spells that we had. Like I said, there is more rain coming this week, so we might be back to some slow moving, but at least the exterior of the camper is mostly done now, which means I can really focus on the inside, get rid of those hideous pink walls, and start building. Up until this point, it's just been a lot of remediation, so I'm super excited to get to the inside and to get to the actual building instead of just fixing things left and right. Obviously, there is still so much to get done, but it feels like I'm finally making some progress, and it's making February seem like a bit more of a realistic target than it was. So here's to more progress being made over the next 7 days. I'll see you guys Sunday. Bye.
I just wanna love you well, love you well. Slow